Foxy people? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing applying layered iron-on. So last week I uploaded the video about creating your own layers and turning them into a workable SVG, and this week's video is about applying those layers. Whether you have an iron or a heat press, you're going to have the same steps and the same process. I used a heat press, but again, even if you're using an iron, the same steps are going to be effective. So this is the shirt that we made. Now, one little disclaimer I do have to give is that my blade is really bad, so I need to get a new one. It was pulling the vinyl a lot when I was cutting it, so you will see that my layers, when I'm applying them, they don't necessarily add up, and that's only because I had to physically cut out the layers or some pieces at some points because the blade wasn't working. Don't take that as a discouragement, because as long as your blade is fine, then these steps will work perfect for you. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so we're just going to start with a new project. As I said in my previous video, I'm not going to go through details on how to upload an image. If you need to know how to do that, I will link it up above. And I'm also not going to go into detail about how to create these layers because I just made a video about that as well. This video is just about applying the layers, so I'm just going to skim through how I'm creating the layers, and then we will get to the applying part. So once again, just measuring it all out. This is the shirt I'm trying to make, so I just wanted to reference back to it. And as you can see, that red line around the date, I wanted to create that. So I'm going to do that real quick here just by making two squares, overlapping them, and slicing. Keep in mind, whenever you're slicing, you can only slice 2 images at a time. And then because it's going around my logo, I just want to size it out right. So I just used the alignment to make sure it was center. And now I'm going to find a square to cover the Joker fully. And then once it's covered, I'm going to remove the Joker and I'll slice out the part of that outline box. Now this has nothing to do with applying the layers. It's just another fun little trick you may not have known how to do. I'm just going to go in and finish the rest of my designing my shirt. Now there's all the pieces. I actually made a video about how to make fonts like that with the outline. I will link that above and down below if needed. So now I just keep referencing back to the shirt to make sure it looks the way I want it to. And then we're going to send it to the mat. Now on here I will normally try and mix them together. I like to use scrap pieces as much as possible. I'm not going to use a full sheet on something that takes up a little space like that white did. So I'll move it around to fit my scraps. And then I'm also moving around the red because right now it's moved, like they put it onto 2 mats, but I know I can move it around to put it onto 1 mat. And I actually had to mix it all around because I personally like to just cut everything on 1 mat, like all the different colors. I lost the footage for that, so in the next clip you'll just see how I laid it out on the mat. But if you need to know how to do that, I do it in my previous video about creating the layers. So if you want to know how to put multiple colors on 1 mat, check out that other video. Same thing with this, I'm just going to move it around so that it would fit better to the pieces that I'm using. And also don't forget to mirror it. I did mirror it in that footage that I lost, but whenever you're doing iron-on, you have to mirror it. So just making sure everything matches up the way I want it to, and then press continue and you're sending it to your mat. So this is how I set up my mat. Like I said, I had the multiple different colors on here. Again, if you need to know how to do that, check out the other video. And then just go through and weed like normal. I use a Lysol container whenever I have small pieces. I just put them in there rather than trying to pull them off my tweezers when I'm weeding. It's come in very helpful. And also because I did try and put it together as much as possible because I was working with scraps, I've had to cut pieces out as well. So I personally like to put them as close as possible, and then you'll see here, I'm just cutting the pieces off. Okay, so now we're getting to the applying part. So again, I use a heat press, but it's the same process and the same steps if you're using an iron. So I'm just gonna put it where I match it up. I don't measure it, I just eye it out. Haven't had any problems, but if you want to measure it, that's fine. And then of course, just heat it up for a quick couple seconds just to get any wrinkles out and get it prepped for your vinyl or your iron-on. So here for the first layer, I'm gonna put as many pieces down as I can, just because you don't want to heat it too many times, or you're gonna run into the fact of possibly burning your vinyl. So on here, I'm just backwards, I'm measuring up where this one piece is going to match up with the outline of it. Just because this kind of piece would be super easy to have it tilted just in the slightest and completely mess up the entire design. So I want to match it up with the outline first, because you can stick vinyl, like you can stick iron-on to iron-on. So I'm going to stick it down here to where I want it, and then I'll pull the outlined part off. For these outlined boxes, I'm cutting the inside out as much as possible. You can cut right down to the vinyl as close as possible. That way you can layer more pieces. But because the words go in to that box, I wouldn't be able to do them both without cutting out that middle piece. So I'm just cutting it out so that I can do the box as well as the words in one press. You want to press it as least amount of times as possible so that you don't burn your vinyl. just referencing back to the picture. I don't know why I can't say that today. Back to the picture just to make sure that it matches up like I want it to. And see, now I can put the words in the center because there's no plastic part touching any vinyl. That's the main thing you have to be careful about. If any part of the carrier sheet is overlapping and touching any of the vinyl, it's going to get stuck to it and almost impossible to release it without messing up your design. So because I didn't have room to put that bottom word on, I'm just going to do this part first, just a couple seconds, and then peel it off. Sometimes you might have to wait for a cold peel. Bleh. Sometimes you might have to wait for a cool peel, and luckily my vinyl right now was all a warm peel. And then continue on. Like I said, try and do as many different pieces at once, just so that you have the least amount of presses. Now I did mess up, and my heat press actually burnt my top word. So that's why I'm putting the parchment paper in between each layer, just so that the vinyl's not actually touching the top of my heat press and burning it. And then once I have every layer or every piece done, I will go through, put the parchment paper down one more time, and heat the entire project now for about 20 seconds. Every other time I'm only heating it about 5 seconds, but this last time is when you're gonna do like a final press to make sure it's all adhered properly. Make sure you're checking your vinyl in between each press just to make sure that you don't see any signs of the vinyl bubbling or wrinkling, because that means that it's burning. And then take off all the parchment paper and check that I can see the fibers through all the vinyl, and that's how you know that it's adhered forever. So here's the final shirt. I know you can't see the imperfections from this far, but there definitely is some. So hopefully that was helpful for you, and that you found a lot of tips and tricks, steps, whatever, to make you feel motivated to try your first layered project. If this is the kind of content that you like, please give this video a big thumbs up so that I know and I can continue making Cricut tutorials. I have tons of them in my head of ones that I want to make. I am just starting out, so I appreciate all the support. My last one blew up, and it kind of brought my motivation back to help all of you. So make sure that you are subscribed along so that you are the first to know when the next Cricut video comes out. Disney planning, mommy hacks, lifestyle, that kind of stuff. Leave a comment down below and let me know what else you would like to see. What kind of projects are you struggling with, and that kind of stuff. My ultimate goal for this channel is that I just help somebody. That was the purpose of this channel, is just to help. Also make sure that you comment and let me know what charity you think we should donate to at first. If you don't know what that means, I will leave a video link down below explaining everything about the donations that I want to set up. So once again, thank you so much for all the support, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys. Today we are doing, oh no.